Have dreams of changing the world. Take the limits off for the boys and the girls. Embrace the skinny end cause you're born to win. Imagine God's love although you're born to sin. I tell them, imagine that and imagine me. I wanna inspire the kids to dream like I'm Miss Vicky. Keep the faith even when it gets tricky. Know that we run this like DMC, so please don't compare me to no sucking MCs. Imagine that and imagine me being everything I was born to be. Imagine that and imagine me.
Tell the people of the world to go higher.
OMG, y'all. This is episode number 1 with Imagine That with Miss Vicky. Oh, thank you guys for tuning in. My heart is palpitating, but I am so glad that I get to share this moment with all of you. We are tuning in, and thank you for tuning in, where our goal is to inspire you to transform your dreams into reality. I just want everybody to understand that the purpose for this show is not to, glorify things that we're doing or anything like that, but to reel you in and to make you understand that, hey, guys, if we can have Imagine That with Miss Vicky, you most definitely can reach your goal and do whatever it is that is in your heart to do. Today, we are going to discuss work-life balance because I believe that this is all where it begins. I have been fortunate enough to have people in our lives or in my life that allows me to do the things that I do. If it's not family, it's a supportive husband. It's people that we can call and say, this is what we are looking at doing. These are some things that we want to do. And they are without or beyond a shadow of a doubt. They come in and they come to the rescue and they just fill in wherever and however we need them to do it. Guys, I just want you all at this moment to stop and pray for this show to be a success. I want you to stop and say, look, I think I may be able to learn something or to have a takeaway from Imagine That with Miss Vicky, where today we're going to talk about work-life balance. I have 2 incredible guests on with me today, and I just feel like they are going to blow your minds with the things that they're going to share with us. Once again, I can't wait. This is a moment that I never saw coming, but with God, all things are possible, and He is forever shocking us with the things that He has for us. Our cup runneth over. And I thank you again for tuning in. We're going to pay some bills. So up next, we have a commercial.
The Jones Experience Grooming Studio. The look, the feel, the lifestyle. This is not your average or typical barbershop or hair salon. It is an experience. Master barbers, experienced hairstylists, estheticians, nail techs, complimentary drinks, car wash services, the list goes on and on. All headed by Jerome P. Jones, Master Barber. So come and enjoy the look, the feel, and the lifestyle at the Jones Experience Grooming Studio at 4041 West Wheatland Road, Dallas, Texas 75237. For booking info, go to jonesexperiencedallas.com.
All right. Welcome back, guys. I hope you enjoyed that commercial. Right now, I have sitting next to me Eric Lockhart, and I have Dr. Gladney. Eric Lockhart is an entrepreneur. He is the owner and CEO of Covenant Homes and Renovations. He's also co-owner of the Jones Experience, and he is my life partner, and we spend and share this life together. I have Dr. Gladney here, LaWanda Gladney. She is a wellness coach. Oh my gosh. So to my understanding, and as I know her to be, she is the doctor of making sure that all is well with our minds. Today, we're going to talk about work-life balance. I'm going to start off just talking to Eric right now because he's who I share life with. And just wanting to know, I see him every day in his realm. I see him and I see the way he wakes up and he inspires me. But I often question, how does he get all of this done? Like when you wake up in the morning, Eric, what is it that's on your mind that propels you to do the things that you do? Because you go a mile a minute.
I think it's the energy behind what you're doing, you know. The vision aspect of it, the people that depend on you, the people that you are in partnership with, that whole circle. I think planning is key. That's what kind of gives you that keen focus when you wake up in the morning, because you've already kind of mapped out your week, and of course things change as you go. But whatever that priority item is, and you know you have so much to do, and you can only do so much in a one particular day.
Yeah. What he normally tells me is, you worry about the kids, I'm going to take care of you. And with that said, it's always in relation to, you know, our date nights and, you know, keeping our relationship fresh. Like when you look at business and you look at your life, you look at your family, what is it that, or how do you prepare to say, I'm going to spend this much time working on this business, I'm going to spend this much time working on this venture, and then I'm going to squeeze in this time with my wife or squeeze in this time with my family?
I don't know. If I had the magic answer for that or the magic formula, you know, I would probably sell it. But I don't know. I think it's all about priorities, and it's also about sacrifice. You know, if you have a new venture, of course, you know, God is first, family is second, and then your ventures or whatnot. But sometimes you do have to have sacrifice moments with your family. If you have a new venture that you're trying to get up off the ground, it requires energy and it requires effort, and you can't go at it at 60 or 70%. So in those cases, you're going to have windows where you have to make that a priority for a moment, for a season, and then once it balances out, it falls into its natural place, and you realign everything.
Okay. And then Dr. Gladney is, I'm going to say she's the expert. She's written this dynamic book, If You're in the Driver's Seat, Why Are You Lost? A Roadmap to an Amazing Life. Dr. Gladney, what made you write this book?
Well, because we all get lost in life.
Yes.
And none of us are taught how to do life. And really trying to understand what happens and what do I do next and how do I find my way again. And so we all have been there numerous times, actually.
Right.
But usually there are big things that happen in our lives that causes us to be lost. And we don't know what to do. And if you don't find your way, when you do get lost, all of those emotions and things will lead you down a path. And a lot of times it leads to depression and other things that can then affect your health and your mental health and wellness. So I knew that it was important for people to have a roadmap. Here's step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. It's kind of like a recipe.
Yes.
To help you when life throws you a curveball, when you find yourself in a divorce, when your job is lost, something happens to your kids, there's a disease, there's something going on in your life that you didn't prepare for, and sometimes it's impossible to prepare for. How do you keep your balance and your emotional well-being? So that was important.
Yes, yes. And I tell you what, reading your book and the points that you made in your book, just highlighting those were amazing for me to just look over and say, you know what? Everything that she said with this GPS that you've given us, and I won't go through all the points at this moment. I'm going to allow Dr. Gladney later on in the show to talk about those, but each and every one can, in my opinion, be applied to every facet, every point in your life.
Yeah.
You know, so it's amazing. And we have so many people who are dealing with mental health and just stress from, you know, just trying to balance it all. I was looking through videos and reading some articles in preparing for the show. And one guy had 2 balls. He had a bucket of balls, and he took one of the balls out. And he talked about if you try to separate one thing out of your bucket of things to do, and you say, okay, so I'm going to put work over here and I'm going to have family over here. When you do that's creating the imbalance for your life. You know, I'm a strong component of everything has to mesh. Everything that I'm doing should somehow connect. Whether it's not, doing this radio show came about from us starting a nonprofit organization. I Made As Greatness Intended, No Excuses. So Imagine Well is a nonprofit, but when trying to organize with the kids in Waxahachie, trying to organize with the kids in Dallas, it became too much. And just at that nick of time, in the nick of time, when it was like, okay, so we're going to devote most of our energies to this one group, God opened up this door for the radio show. And now it's not that I have to separate anything. Everybody can get it together in one beat, you know? Eric, do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, we always call that synergy. You know, anything that's inside of your circle, you try to synergize, and it should feed off of each other. And at the end of the day, I think the work-life balance piece comes in. You have to get a healthy understanding or a healthy standpoint of who you are. I think when you know who you are and what you're about, that helps you find the drive and prioritize other areas, because you have to be able to, you know, see purpose. You have to see purpose in your job, whether it's your own business, whether you're on the job working for someone. There's a purpose for it, and it helps you reframe those moments when life kicks in, because life is going to happen. It's all about how you're going to react to it and how you're going to respond to it, and you have to be a mastermind photographer of reframing and understanding at the end of the day, this is going to all work out. So I think, you know, if anything's within inside your circle, when we talk about the grooming studios and the barbershops and the salons, well, that opens up makeup artists, that opens up nail artists, that opens up estheticians, that opens up pampering parties, that opens up fashion, because all of that is synergized within that one industry. So you're not stretching yourself from the standpoint of trying to totally go into another arena, but you have synergy because all those different areas feed off each other.
Yeah, and that, you know, that's important when you talk about the synergy. And this is so great to hear a man talking about work-life balance. Let me just say that. Because typically when we talk about work-life balance, it's usually focused on the woman because of the many hats that she has to wear. So I think it's just really refreshing to have your partner in on this conversation, because it does matter. And it helps with the whole piece of how you balance your life if two people are synergized together. And so it's difficult when you have two. But there's a lot of people out there, in the place that I found myself in as a single parent, you're doing it all by yourself. Right. So we're talking about a lot of difficulties. There are many situations where even if you are married and you have two people, you know, it's still off balance because somebody is not, you're not synergized with each other. And that is key. When you said synergy, it is about yourself and being grounded so that you can then be synergized with somebody else. Most people don't have that. And that's what this is all about, is to help people understand who they are, find out what their purpose is, find out what your mission is, so that you're not running around life lost. And most people are running around. They don't have an end address to their GPS because they don't know where they're going in life. So, you know, that is all of this is tied together through synergy, but it starts here. It starts with yourself, knowing who you are, knowing why you're here. What are you doing here? And so many people just think they came here to work. They think they came here to work, to find somebody to love them, and now we do life, and life is over. That's not it. And so that's one of the missions I'm on, is to help people understand why God has you here in the first place.
And I tell you what, when you understand that aspect, it helps you find the help that He's sending you.
Absolutely.
You know, we have this big thing of always trying to do it on our own.
Right.
You know, whether it's pride, whether it's facades, whether you don't want to share a secret.
Ego.
But the whole thing is, when you have a healthy understanding of who you are, you're good. You're not moved by rubbing elbows with anybody else in the room, and you're open to assist. But that has to be reciprocated. You know, it can't always be you receiving, but also you giving, and that's part of that relationship standpoint.
Right.
And you had mentioned something real earlier, and that's why when she said about the kids, she's a mama, natural, probably one of the greatest moms on this earth. So them kids are gonna be good. But we both can't have a mommy mode with dealing with kids, because it's going to throw us off in balance on our personal relationship. So that's why I like, hey, you got the kids, I got us. So every time we say vacation, she want to throw the kids on it. Sometimes the kids going to go on vacation. Sometimes this is going to be a getaway, a vacation for just us. Them kids are going nowhere. And thank God for grandmother and grandfather and uncles and aunts, you know, that kick in and help with those kids. And you got to take advantage of it.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Wow.
And it's amazing hearing both of you guys say know who you are. That brings me to the topic. Well, it took me to a lot of topics, because I went back to see Black Panther yesterday, and one of the themes that I wrote down from the movie was you can working with people sometimes may seem like I don't like them. I don't want to combine this with that. But I feel like from the movie, they did a very good job at showing how working together and fighting against those people that you think you're fighting against because you don't like them, that could be the person that could really help you.
Yeah.
So really knowing who you are and knowing that, hey, I don't have to fight against those people. This person is sent here to help me. Let's go talk about, how do you know who you are? How do you get to that point of knowing this is who I am, this is what I stand for, and you can bring however many people you want to on. They don't intimidate me. We can work together. We don't have to fight.
Right.
How do you get to the point of knowing who you are?
Well, you know, that's a really good question. And I talk about that in the book, because the underlying meaning to all of us as humans, what I have found in my years of work and touching thousands of people, is that we all have this thread of insecurity. And it's because we don't know who we are and we're not grounded. And it's only so much teaching that you can give, even as you put it into your children, how wonderful and marvelous you are. If they don't believe that themselves and they're not grounded, they're not going to hear that message. So this thread of insecurity that touches all the human life, and you begin to question, you know, who am I? What is my value? What is my worth? And really, it all comes back to the spiritual side. And we don't talk enough about that. We are made up of mind, body, and spirit. And people have to understand it all has to work in synergy together. I'm just going to keep your word flow going. And so people neglect the spiritual side. And I'm telling you, Vicki, it has everything to do with you not understanding, again, and understanding who you are, whose you are, and why you're here. And so we get lost with life. And as women, we really get lost because we don't even have names anymore. You just become Bria's mom, Jazzy's mom, Jordan's mom, whoever your kids are, Lexi's mom. I didn't have a name because I was their mother, or when I was married, I was the wife. It's like you become... And so you really are lost. You're lost into what you're doing. Men a lot of times can get lost in their identity of whatever their choice of career is, and that's who they become. I work a lot with athletes, and it's like, I'm a football player, but then when it's over, you have no identity. So it's really... it's really meaningful for us to stop. We have to really get into the introspective pieces of life, the spiritual part, and say, yes, who am I? And I have some activities in there so you can really find yourself again. And it starts there. Who are you? Knowing who you are, what you like. We change all the time. You know, I didn't used to like sushi. Now I like sushi. You know, what changed about that? We are ever evolving and ever changing. But if you're not in touch with you and the being, and if you don't like yourself, and that's where it's really important. A lot of people don't even like themselves. That's why we see all this hatred and hating of others, because you don't really like yourself. So I'm telling you, it can get deep. I don't know how deep we want to go, but when you're talking about people finding and knowing who they are, and then everything else is erupts from that point. So we just have a lot of people lost within themselves.
Yeah, that's so true. And you hate yourself. Well, some people don't like themselves because they don't know themselves. Absolutely. And, you know, we got this big campaign that's real big now with, you know, being creative and being you. Be you. Everybody else is taken. But it's hard to be you when you don't know who you is.
Right.
And just to cut to the chase, you're right. You'll never get there without the spiritual side. So just if you trying to go around the spiritual side, you every day you here on earth, you will be tormented because you'll never find that place.
Right.
But when you do find who you are, and you got to find your truths. So what happens? So with Imagine Well, we started Imagine Well, and part of the activities we start with young kids between 10 and 16. And so why do we want to catch the kids from 10 to 16? And the same thing that we teach the kids is the same thing we do with the adults. Yeah. It's the same thing. But if you can catch the kids early, before they've been intimidated, before they've been pressured to be what the family business is or be something that they don't want to be, that's where you can kind of head off some of that insecurity. Because if you don't, that same insecurity carries over into your adulthood. And you're going to need the same message. You know, I think Bishop Jakes does a great job getting people in tune with their purpose and who they are from a spiritual standpoint, and it's freeing. Man, because when you know who you are, it's like liberty. You're free. It doesn't matter what you say or what you think. I know me, and I'm good, and I'm able to interact and deal with anybody on any spectrum. Yeah,
and that's one of the keys to the work-life balance that I teach. Is that when you know your purpose and you know your mission, it's going to keep you balanced. Because you're not going to get, first of all, you're not going to get distracted.
Mission minded.
You're not going to get distracted with a lot of stuff because you know your mission and you know your purpose. So all the people that come your way, the people that ask you, oh, can you do this? Oh my God, you're the best. We need you on this committee. We need you to join this organization. You know, here's an opportunity over here. If you know your purpose, you're not going to get swayed. It's just like knowing your end address. And you're like, that's not where I'm going. I'm trying to go over here. That's going to take me, 10 miles off of where I'm trying to go. And so that is one of the major keys. You can, and it helps you to say no. Right. Because a lot of times we're off balance because we're trying to do too much. Yes. We have a lot going on. We're trying to get our kids involved in too much. And that's a whole nother thing. I know you pointed that out in your book. With the whole kid thing. We get off purpose and we think, oh, our life is all about fulfilling the purpose of our kids. And it's not. They need to understand that, I'm obligated to you because you're my child, but I also have a life and they need to learn that life is not all about them. So it's so many variables that come into play when you don't know your purpose and your mission and you just go, okay, well, that sounds good. Yeah, I'll do that. That sounds like that would be fun. I never tried that before. I'm going to do that. And then you find yourself doing all these things and you're tired and you're unfulfilled at the end of the day.
You find yourself in a rat race.
Yeah,
you're just spinning in circles.
And you're just like, oh my God. And you're like, but I'm not happy. I'm not, I don't. That's because you don't know exactly what it is about.
Y'all, like, all of that is good and fine. Know yourself, know your worth. That is something I quote every day. I had a Sprite can in my office to prove it. That's one of Drake's quotes. Know yourself, know your worth. But what happens when you know who you are, but the people around you don't quite see it? And they're the ones that's kind of assigning tasks, and you're going to work every day. You're going to this job because this is my career. I have to make the money. If I venture out to do this, then I may lose my insurance. Or if I venture out to do what I know I am, then I may lose what I'm trying to keep balanced.
Okay. You know, that is so good, Ms. Vicki. I'm so glad you brought that up. Because a lot of times, you know, people feel like, well, they're stuck and they can't do. What you have to understand is life happens in seasons, first of all. And it has to be a plan and a strategy. People forget about that piece, that you have to actually plan your life out. We plan out so many other things, but we fail to have a life plan on what we need to do. So now your mission, you can fulfill your mission or whatever it is, even in your current place where you are. People don't understand that. Now, God may have something bigger for you, but while you're here, your gifts, your talents, all of what you have, you are able to do it while you're doing what you're doing. And then if there's something bigger, you have to plan for that, because it's going to take time, it's going to take energy, it's going to take resources, it's going to take, you know, a lot. But a lot of times people just feel like, well, I couldn't do it this way. So I'm not going to do it at all. So when we come back from commercial, then I'll be able to tell you exactly how we can get on that course.
I love it. Thank you. We're headed to commercial, guys. It's time to pay a few more bills.
The Jones Experience Grooming Studio. The look, the feel, the lifestyle. This is not your average or typical barbershop or hair salon. It is an experience. Master barbers, experienced hairstylists, estheticians, nail techs, complimentary drinks, car wash services, the list goes on and on. All headed by Jerome P. Jones, Master Barber. So come and enjoy the look, the feel, and the lifestyle at the Jones Experience Grooming Studio at 4041 West Wheatland Road, Dallas, Texas 75237. For booking info, go to jonesexperiencedallas.com.
All right, we're back, and Ms. Gladney, Dr. Gladney was actually talking to us about how to stay the course when you feel like, y'all, everybody, I know who I am, but the people at my job don't see who I am, and I can't just quit because I got to hold on to these bills. Yeah. Go ahead and finish telling them what you were saying.
So other people will see who you are, because a lot of times it's the people that surround us that really help us say, you're so good at that. Do you not know you're just a natural? They are really the ones that plan it into us. But even if they don't, that's not the point. The point is that you know. Right. Everybody don't have to know where you're headed when you get in your car, your GPS. Well, they need to know. So at the end of the day, it's look, Siri know where I'm going because I've asked her, where am I going? Yes. She's the only one that matters. The passengers, you know what? It doesn't matter. The people outside that are driving by me, they don't have to know where I'm going. But you have to have that plan and that strategy in place. I tell you what, it gives you confidence. People, you want confidence? You want to feel good about yourself and to feel good about a lot of things. That confidence is steeped in knowing who you are and knowing what your mission is. It makes you walk differently. It makes you talk differently. And it doesn't matter, like I said, again, the distractions, because people not knowing where you're going. And if you unsure about it, then you will get thrown off base. But if you're not, you're like, you don't have to understand now, but you will understand one day. You know what I'm saying? It gives you a whole level of assurance that nothing else can.
Yeah, and in corporate America, they got this word called manage up. And I think when you know who you are, you actually have an advantage. And a lot of times if people don't, and it is kind of, it can happen, but 9 times out of 10, people are going to see that self-confidence. They're going to see that balance from, I guess it would be more like, it will be confidence that you have, but you got to also look at the big picture, and you have to be able to identify and speak and connect regardless of what level they are in your company, whether it's the president, whether it's the secretary or whoever it is, and you create the ideas, because if you can see your purpose and where you are now, and what happens, people keep waiting. They looking for a season. When my season, when it happens, you're in your season. You're in your season right now. If you go up a flight of stairs, you can only take it one stair at a time. And if you're on step number 6, that's the step that you got to master. But we get so caught up in looking at step number 22 that we miss the fruit on step number 6. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
And when you understand that you're at a job, my last stint in corporate America, I looked at it from a growth standpoint. I get paid every other week to learn.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you got to find those growth opportunities in where you are right now. And by knowing who you are, you already know what you're good at, what you're working towards. You'll be the puppet master. You can be the lowest man on the totem pole because power comes from influence.
Yeah.
You can be the lowest man on the totem pole, but you can be the most powerful person in the company. Because you can catch that CEO in the break room and get your point across to him. You can plant that seed. Because now you got the vision. And a lot of, we're talking about people not knowing who they are. Just because they're in certain positions don't mean that they know who they are. A lot of times they don't.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the oxymoron of corporate America. But on another point, I think it's very important that you do not become your title. And you do not become your job. That's when you will lose yourself. Absolutely. When you become mommy, when you become, like you said, the football player, you can't lose you. You are still you that happens to play football. Yeah. You're still you that happens to be a mother, that happens to be a wife, that happens to be a teacher, that happens to be a counselor, that happens to be a pastor. You can't become that title. Right. That's what you do, but that's not necessarily who you are. Right. You know, and when you become that, that's where you get your identity from. Yes. And then you wonder why people put you in these little pigeonholes and you can't get out.
Yeah. Okay, so now I know who I am. I know that, you know, what other people think or how they may pigeonhole me into these little, you know, sectors of life. I know that that really doesn't matter. What's my next step in balancing everything? I'm secure. I have this great job, but I have a family, but I don't get off work until 6 o'clock. I got to go home and cook. My kids have sports. My friends want me to go out. How do we juggle all of it now?
I'll take that one. So real quick on 2 points. So we have Covenant Homes, construction and renovation. We have 2 salons with the Jones Experience. We have Lavish Lounge that does showcases, events, consulting. We have Imagine Well, which is a nonprofit organization. You are a full-time counselor in addition to that. What am I missing? Am I missing anything else? Then we have the show, right? So how do you balance all of that? Number one, you can't do it alone. And when we talked about that team, and number two, you have to respect time. Because you can't get any more. It's 24 hours in a day. And what you have to do, you have to be able to manage your time. Just like you have to manage your money. Just like you have to manage your time. Just like you have to manage your household. It takes discipline, it takes consistency, and it takes a plan. And when you have a plan, you can adapt your plan to fit your situation. But when you respect time, it also helps you prioritize things. I got 24 hours. So what do I want to put in this 24 hours that's tied to my purpose, that's synergized to who I am, and it keeps you from time killers, you run from them. You know, people want to call a meeting at 3 and the meeting don't start till 4:30 and it's supposed to be an hour and we're in there 3 hours. I'm dodging you, you know. And if it's not in my window, if it's not in my circle, I don't need to be there. And it teaches you to stay away from things that doesn't add value. And you got to respect it. And if you become a people pleaser and you try to make everything that's not tied to who you are or what you can put in, then you're gonna be very frustrated.
Yeah, and one of the things that I teach people in trying to get to all of that, because most people don't have discipline. All of the things that you talked about are so true, but they don't have it. Again, you know, why I wrote this book is because there's no life classes to teach us how to do life. So we just repeat what we saw growing up, typically. We just repeat however we learned to parent, how our parents parented, because that's what we saw, whatever that looks like. And so nobody really knows. So everybody's like, oh, this is the way I did it. Well, this is the way I did it. This is the way I did it. So when it comes to this whole element of time and balance, most people don't have it. Like I said, they don't have a life plan. A lot of people feel like, I teach people when I work with them one-on-one, how to get their time back, because people are really chasing time instead of in front of time, because we don't know what to do with time.
Right.
The only thing that makes us all equal on the face of this planet with more than 7 billion people is that we all only have 24 hours in a day.
Wow.
The thing that makes us different from each other is really not the color of our skin or where we worship or our gender. The thing that makes us different is how we use our time. Now, that's going to determine where you go and where I go. It's what I'm going to do with my time. People don't understand the impact. Time is something that we all are so familiar with, but we really don't understand the impact of a minute, of 5 minutes, of that time is gone. We're not going to get it back because I'll be here tomorrow. So we chase time instead of planning time. We say, okay, I have to work, 8 hours. I have to drive an hour. You get in all of this, and I teach people you really have 4 to 7 free hours of time if you're working on a normal job every day. And people go, no, I don't. I'm like, that's because you don't know what you're doing with your time. So again, it has to be something that's very deliberate. Everything that you do in life, if you're going to be successful, has to be intentional. It can't just happen. Nothing is going to just happen for you. So getting balance in your life is not going to just happen. If it's something you really are serious about and you're tired of being tired and you're tired of feeling like, people will say, oh, if I just had 3 more hours in a day. If you had 3 more hours in a day, you do the same exact thing because you don't know what to do with the 24. At the end of it, you do have to have a plan. You do have to know that you can't do it all simultaneously. Your kids cannot be involved in everything. And then you feeling like, you can't do everything all at the same time.
Right.
Because we only have so much bandwidth every day that we work with. So you're given energy every day. You wake up, you get to start a new day. You have a certain amount of energy. When that's gone through that day, you got to lay down and go to sleep. Or you should. And I hear people say, oh, I don't sleep. Well, that's not good either.
That's really not good.
That's not good. We know the detrimentals of not sleeping, but they say that so they can get in and get some more work done. But again, it goes back to that mission. If you know your mission, then you're going to say no to a lot of things that will eat up your time. You won't be distracted. And then you know how to rest, because you're going to know that you're not going to be able to get it all done. But when you lay down at night, I've done the best I can for today. If tomorrow comes, if it doesn't, I've done the best I can for today. And you're rested and you're not, anxious and anxiety. So many people are having panic disorders. I could tell you all that. We're not going to go into all that because it would depress you on the numbers of what's happening right now in our nation, in our world. But a lot of it has to do with how you look and how you plan your time and where you're trying to go each and every day. And if you don't get that, you're going to teach your kids the same thing that you're doing. And they're going to be running around in circles and, oh, mama, calling you when they get grown. I have grown kids. And they call, the time I'm tired. All of those things, I'm telling you guys, we have to get this right. It has to be intentional. If you want work-life balance, you can have it. But it's your intent.
And I think you said a key word that people underestimate: rest. You gotta have it. You gotta have it. If you don't rest, you will burn out. And if you burn out, you have done mental damage to your life, to your body, to your soul. And you won't be efficient and you won't be productive. You'll just be busy. And I think people got to understand the difference between being effective and being busy.
Right.
Busy does not mean you're effective.
Yeah.
Busy just means you're not managing your time well and you running yourself in the ground. And I think if people understand the benefits of rest, there's times you're going to have to shut off the phone. You're going to have to shut off social media. You're going to have to shut off whatever the distractions are to where you can rest. Whether that's your prayer time, that's your spiritual life, if it's a getaway, whatever those moments that kind of give you zen, you have to do it. It's a must. So I think that's key. And I brought up a point a while ago about all the different ventures that we're in, but the only venture that I'm responsible for is the Covenant Homes part.
Right.
And another key thing, and that's only because we've learned the value of relationships and connections.
Yeah, and I was going to mention that because to other people it may say, oh, if they have all that going on, then their life is crazy. Right. But so I'm glad you're clarifying that, if you're able to go down this path, but you have somebody else doing it.
Right.
And if you're able to go down and you're really just managing it all.
Exactly.
So it's not like you're involved, because some people I see people and they're doing way too much. And I just know their body's going to take a toll and it's going to shut down. Their body will shut down on you.
Yeah, you can only do so much. But, you know, each one of those ventures from relationships and knowing who you are, and then you start rubbing elbows with other people that know who they are, and you play to people's strengths. And every last one of those are ran by somebody else.
Yes.
And they have a passion and a love for those areas. And that's what makes it successful.
Yeah.
It is so funny because every time I have a thought and I'm going to bring that topic up, without, like, seriously, I'm taking notes. Eric is like honing in on everything, like the effectiveness, the manage up, can't be a people pleaser. These are all topics that I really wanted to bring out. And I know my friend Siobhan is on Facebook and she's saying, speak, Dr. Gladney, because she is, we didn't schedule this. We didn't schedule. Vicki, you said we were going to be here at 4 o'clock. It is 5 o'clock. I am putting my pajamas back on. Like really being respectful of people's time. That is major. I want to go into talking about this kid thing. We're all parents, and I know lots of people we work with and we deal with on a daily basis have kids. It took my 22-year-old coming back home and saying, Mama, he really don't want to play basketball. Yeah. Like, this little boy had us going to basketball practice, running all across town, going to basketball games. And EJ said, Mama, Winston, tell her. And I'm saying, tell me what? Tell her. He don't want to play.
You know, I'm telling you, I have 4 children. And I realized early on, because I knew my purpose, you know, at an early age. So I was blessed in that way. God spoke it to me and I knew it. And so I could stay very clear. What happens when we have children a lot of times is we project into them what we want, what we would like. Oh, this would be great. You know, my son played basketball, football, all the things. It's like, oh, yeah, I want to be that parent in the stand. And I was trying to push him toward this. He's like, Mom, I don't like basketball. I want to play football. Right. And, you know, the things that we do is really we're trying to put it into them. But I knew that having 4 kids, and if everybody was going to be doing something all the time, I wouldn't do anything with my stuff besides follow them and talk to everybody about how tired I was. That's not cool. So I had to intentional, again, say each child gets to be involved in 2 activities. You know what that does to them? That teaches them that any and everything that you do, you're not going to be able to do. So whatever it is that you choose to do, you better make sure it's something that you want to do. Right. So then it puts it in the ball in their court. So it's not like, well, don't you want to do this? Oh, you'll be a good dancer. I have 3 girls, 1 boy. Oh, you'll be a good dancer. You'll be, you know, now it was fun to kind of try some of this stuff out to just kind of see where they land. And I realized early on that my daughter, we were having her in soccer. She didn't want to play, and I was glad I realized by the 3rd grade, so I didn't try to get her in the super soccer leagues and all of this stuff, following behind. And then I realized the older they got, y'all know something else I realized, look, if this is not going to bring you a scholarship, we don't need to do this. Because at the end of the day, what is this really about? You know what I'm saying? So you have to again, plan. And you have to say, okay, everybody gets 2 activities. The one activity was a church activity where we all get to go. But then the other outside activity, that's still 4 activities, you know, after school that you still have to manage. So you be in control of that. A lot of times people think their kids are in control of the house.
Right.
But you know what? On that point with kids, and this is what we hate to look in the mirror and say, just because you were raised that way, which might have been good for your time, and you probably was raised like that because that's how your parents was raised and that's how their parents was raised. But we hate to ask that question, but what if that wasn't right? What if I'm wrong? You know, I grew up in this certain church all my life, but what if you're wrong? What if you're missing it? That's how they talk. That's how we got talked to. So this is how you. These kids are dealing with. First of all, they don't understand our struggle.
No,
you know what I mean. They don't know anything about projects and you know, some of them, you know. So we're trying to make them have an appreciation based off of what we've been able to give them that they was able to avoid, which they have no reference point to it. So what is living in the projects? What is Section 8? What is cheese? What's a block of cheese? What is
live in the suburbs?
Yeah, you know,
to all of our hard work.
Yeah, they're dealing with cyberbullying.
Yeah,
you know, we call it roasting, but these kids now have another show. They have access to so much information that we didn't, that you have to adjust how you raise them. And even the way you do business. Times are evolving. Technology has evolved. How you talk to kids, their temperament, their mental, their abilities, they're more creative. It's a difference.
Yeah.
So we have to adjust. And you can't always fall back to that default. Well, I was raised and I turned out all right. Yeah, but you were raised in a different era and a different time. And some of those principles you can carry over.
Yeah.
But if you want to be effective and you want to reach your kid,
Yeah.
you know, you don't have a kid that you can holler at.
Yeah.
You
Right.
took it. He can't.
Right.
This little kid is writing suicide letters, ready to jump.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah.
so you got to be able to make those adjustments and listen to your kid.
Absolutely.
And are you gonna miss it?
Yeah. And go ahead.
That's exactly why I said that, because Winston, who we tried to push into basketball because EJ and William played basketball, you know, and this is what he's been doing all his life. Winston preferred to do YouTube, and
Yeah.
you know, he's a YouTuber, but that wasn't as prevalent when EJ was coming around, you know. So I feel like listening to our kids is very, very important. And then, like you said, letting them know at an early age that you can't just do all of it. You know, we can try some things here and there, but you're not going to be involved in 5 things at one time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not. And most of the time, it's just like the kids. We buy them all this stuff for Christmas, and they'll play with the boxes. I mean, really, come on, people. We really have to know. A lot of times, you know, they get tired. And they don't want to go somewhere.
Exactly.
They don't want to rest. Yeah, they want to rest.
Yes.
They're like, Mama, I don't feel like going. I don't want. And we
Right.
dragging them. No, come on, we signed up. You're not gonna quit. You're not. I mean, but I'm just saying. You see how we really can control a lot of this. We just don't get in front of our lives and plan it out.
And speaking of that Christmas list, in our household, the last 5-10 years, we've changed that, child. You gonna make that list? They come with list 10 items on that list. Okay, you have to learn how to prioritize. What's your top 3?
Yeah,
We have to trim that list in a minute.
Yeah.
But we used to do the same thing.
We've
Give 'em
always
all that
done
stuff,
3.
and they
You
just
only get 3 choices
and it
because
all,
now you know how to prioritize.
and 7 of them
right.
get ditched. They open them and hit the corner. You're like, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, while we were talking about kids and the things that we're doing for our kids, let's talk about quality time versus the amount of time that we're spending doing anything. So I know a lot of times we get caught up in, you know, I'm doing all of these things and I'm having to juggle this, that, and the third. But how much time are you really being effective? And how much of that time is really quality?
With your kids?
Just broad, the whole spectrum. That's with the kids, with work.
Okay. Well, you know, I have this sheet that helps people really put that into play, because you list out what you think is your priority, what you say is a priority. God first on the list, always family, la la la. Then I have people go and say, well, you know, they have to write out how much time are you spending with God. Take away, even if you want to include church, because it's 168 hours in a week. So how much time are you spending with him?
Right.
How much time are you spending with your family? We talk about family time. We're not talking about the time that you spend telling your kids to do their homework and go and do this, and I'm transporting you here and there. That's all the busy. How much time are you actually spending where it's just you and them, not the phones, and not, you know, a lot of times they're trying to show you everything on Snapchat and everything else. But I'm saying, how much quality time are you really spending with your children or with your spouse? You know, you say, this is what you're saying is important. And then people put health. I'm like, well, how much time are you spending on your health?
Right.
Really, what is it? So when you talk about, I'm telling you, we have missed the whole element of time. Yeah. And so because we don't really understand the weight of it, we don't understand how valuable it is. And we say all of these things, but it doesn't match. Right. So people are not spending, the average time they say a father spends with his kids a day is 7 minutes. And a mother, I think, is like 20 or something. And so that's time. And you're thinking, okay, I got 24 hours a day. I'm really spending with my kids, but I'm with them all the time. I'm here, I'm cooking, how much time are you really spending? And then you have to think, if you got multiple children, you know, what does that look like? Your spouse, are you going on dates every week? What are you doing together that does qualify for quality time.
Well, we got
So,
an
yeah.
hour drive in, so we count that hour. But that whole hour, they on the phone. The kids got headphones on.
Yeah,
they're
and then that's
texting,
not
you listen
quality
to the radio.
time.
Yeah, you
And
did-
so what I used to do, because I did want all of it to count, is I would say, okay, no phones, no this, and we're going to either, it's intentional. This is the structure and here's the plan. We're going to talk about this, or we're going to sing a song or whatever. So if you want to continue. and
It's
find out,
time
we'll
for
do-
a commercial, y'all. We'll be back in 2 minutes, 2 seconds.
Thing that we can come and sharpen our irons, soar like eagles amongst each other, and have a good evening, right? So like he said, we want to do this first Monday of every month, so make sure you are hashtagging first Monday on all your pictures, all your posts, Instagram. We want y'all to go live, don't be ashamed, tag some folks, meet some new people tonight, pass out some business cards, get some business cards, all the above.
Your image is everything. Image is everything. So be sure that you keep your image the way you want it to.
I was going to say, when it comes down to networking, for the people that's in the beginning of their careers in the industry, there's people still putting on shows and doing competitions and things like that. I think those things are very important.
A lot of times people go to networking events, but they do not network. Do not be afraid to open your mouth and speak.
All right, we're back from commercial, and Dr. Gladney, go ahead and finish up what you were saying before
Well,
commercial.
you know, this time has gone by so fast.
So fast.
And so what I want to leave people with is the understanding that you have to be intentional about your life and what it is that you want. When I wrote this book again, if you're in the driver's seat, Why Are You Lost?, which you can get it on Amazon, you can go to creatingamazing.lives.com, my website. It is really a roadmap. At the end of every chapter, here's the steps and the directions on how you get through relationship issues, how you get through health issues, how you get through being lost, divorced, toxic people, every area of your life. And the intent was to help people be intentional, as well as helping you find your purpose in here, as well as the spiritual aspect. So I tried to touch on every bit and piece. The time element, all of the things that we talked about today, is all here because my mission and my hope is to help you understand how to manage your life so that your life can be better, and it can be an amazing life. It can be the abundant life that God said he wanted us to have.
Yes.
And we don't have it because of our choices and our lifestyle choices. But it's there for us. It doesn't mean life is going to be easy. Doesn't mean we're not going to hurt and have pain. And we talk about that in the book. How do you get through pain? How do you walk through all of this? So all of this is really important. And the important thing is when you are balancing, when you're looking to balance your life, you first have to look at your life. And so it requires you knowing who you are. It requires you finding that out. I have this all written out here in the book. And then just getting in the place so that when you do know, you don't veer off your course. You can stay so grounded. And I'm telling you, it makes you look at your life and it makes you feel differently and walk differently and act differently. So you don't get all caught up in all the stuff that other people are, even on Facebook and social media. You're not going to get into those arguments because you don't have time. Your time is valuable. I want to tell people they can reach out to me via Facebook. I do want to give a gift today. So for the first 10 people who inbox, I guess on Facebook, we're doing a Facebook Live. You send a comment to me that you want me to work with you for 30 minutes free. I'm going to give you a 30-minute free session to work with you one-on-one. So that's for the first 10 people, or you can inbox me at Dr. Gladney on Facebook. So I'm here, and I'm not going away because my job is to help you to create that amazing life and to find what you want in your life.
Amazing. Like, you are such an amazing person. Thank you so much for coming on today. Thank both you and Eric. Wow, this has been just everything that I could even imagine. The whole point of our show is to sit like we're sitting in the living room and just talking, talking about real issues, but not just talking about the issue, but being solution minded and coming up with ways that we can help, or we can inspire you, or show you some of the things that we do in order to be successful. Dr. Gladney has written this amazing book. If you're in the driver's seat, Why Are You Lost? I have read it. I have given it to a friend of mine, and it is just everything that she talked about. If you heard the way she spoke today, you can imagine how easy it is to read this and use it in your everyday life. And when it comes down to work-life balance, man, it seems like before we can even get into work-life balance, we first have to define what work-life balance is to us. We have to know who we are, and then we have to be willing to somehow manage our time. We have to schedule. We have to prioritize. Today, I brought my calendar, just my everyday calendar that I use. It's not, I can't say that I'm just perfect at it, but I'm getting there. And the whole point is for you to start where you are. You know, there may be some things that you miss on the calendar, but go back and review. Look at your calendar, create a week at a glance where you kind of know, hey, on this day, I'm supposed to be here. Don't waste people's time. Don't waste your own time. And then more so than anything, guys, talk to your kids, talk to your family, talk to your boss. Find out what it is they expect from you, because sometimes we run in circles doing things and that's not even the expectation. So know who you are. Everybody else is taken. We can go on and on about being you. But at the end of the day, guys, this is the life that God has given us to live. He has placed gifts inside of each and every one of us. Make it the best. Make it the best. Love you. Bye. Thanks for tuning in. Also, I'm sorry. You can also tune in to Imagine That with MissVicki.com or follow us on Facebook, Instagram. We'll see you next week. Bye. YouTube. Bye.